Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me this week is practically everyone. We'll start off with Eli.
Hello there, I'm Eli, along with everyone.
And up next is Mike, who's decided to return after like 6 months.
Dun 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 dun.
All right, and Unoclay, who's here drunk off his ass.
I'm eating food and drinking beer, everybody. What up?
Woo!
Just kidding. I'm not. I was drunk all weekend. One of my best friends, Saporita, got married, and he had his reception at a brewery, so there was no restraint had. I ate more pretzels than my body weight because they had soft pretzels for like one of the entrees or hors d'oeuvre, what do you call it? Yeah, it was sick. And then they had like tankards of beer free all night. So
was it a German wedding or?
No, Italian. He's Italian, so it was like, but it was like kind of a mix of themes. It was like a Philadelphia theme because we're really big into soft pretzels and beer here. So,
Nice.
you know,
Yeah, Clay, we know you're too drive to drunk right now.
dude, my wife's out of town for a week for real. I should be, but I have too much stuff to do tonight. So I hear this, but
Well, at least now you can walk around in your underwear and play games. You know, you can play,
to be honest, nothing's changed on that front.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. Man of the house.
Man of the house. My wife lets me do pretty much whatever I want. So her going away really is just an excuse for me to like brag about her being away, but I don't really do anything that different. So
The real good thing is you can finally get the cookies and the cookie jar without getting yelled at. You're like looking around, sneaky. You're like, yeah, I can have a cookie right now without being in trouble.
For me, dude, married life, and we can get on with the podcast in a second. But for me, married life is so late, like so much less exciting than that. For me, it's like, oh, sweet, I won't even do the dishes for like an hour after I eat. It's like my big rebellion.
I like it.
All right, so we'll get on to what we've been playing this week, and I don't think I've been playing anything. I think I've just been playing like the same sort of cycle of games, so there's not really anything to report. But Eli, I saw recently on Twitter that you've been playing Star Fox Zero, that is, and why don't you tell us how that's been going?
It's a great game, right, Eli?
Like it grew onto you, right? Like I said, it was like a month ago.
So it did grow on me a little bit as I played it more. However, okay, I'm on the final boss right now, so I haven't beaten it yet, and I rage quit on the final boss after dying like 3 times, and I'm like, screw this, I'm not going to repeat that whole process again. So I'll go back later and take care of it. The controls are terrible, like really bad, and that's unfortunate because literally, so pretty much is like you use the gyroscope to aim by looking at your gamepad to aim where you want to go, blah, blah, blah. I feel like the whole problem could have been fixed if they just put the boost button on one of the triggers and then use the aiming reticle with the right stick and moving with the left, and it would have fixed the whole problem.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Nintendo pushes innovation onto everyone.
I mean, I didn't
Quote
have
unquote innovation.
I didn't have as much problems with the gyro as a lot of people did, but I will agree that there is a frustrating confusion, and maybe Mike experienced this too, that I'm still playing it. I'm trying to clear out a lot of the medals before I go to the final boss and stuff like that. But like what happens all the time? Do you guys have this happen where you're fighting and you're trying to like do your slow motion roll at the same time, and you accidentally cause yourself to do backflips or to do a turnaround because you're like pressing too many buttons at once? Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's only like happened to me once, to be honest. And I like backflipped into Star Wolf. I was like, "F me." But like, Clay, the last time we spoke, I don't know, you weren't around, but I already did my Star Fox Zero. Got every medal, got everything, beat everything. And
did you look up how to do it? Because I'm trying to do it without cheating. I've only got one world cleared out by not cheating.
I had to look up one of them because I could not figure out. I was just flying around like an idiot. I was like, "This is impossible." I had to look up the one where to get to the I can't remember because it's so irrelevant.
Asteroid belt. I haven't figured out how to unlock the asteroid belt yet.
That was it. That was the one dude, it took me forever. I was like, "F this. I'm not gonna waste my time anymore." And I actually felt dirty for like a day. But then
like getting a lot of medals, or what's your deal? Are you just trying to rip through the game mainly?
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah. Go, Eli, go.
Okay, so I was like kind of making my way through it as fast as I could. I'm not like a huge Star Fox fan, so I don't replay games other than like a very select few. So usually I just run through them to know what they're about, and so to see whether I like them or not, and I can talk about them. So in this case, yeah, I've just been kind of streamlining it, and it's really didn't take very long at all. It took like 3 hours, probably maybe even less. I'm really looking forward to playing guard that I haven't touched yet, but I'm probably not going to go back and replay levels or anything like that. Even though like the game grew on me as I played a little more of it, and I do like the level design and stuff, I'm just not one to replay games. Other than cue the second game I played this week, The Last of Us, which I beat, which was a replay.
God, no, Elia, I'm gonna cut you off before you get
which is actually
trash. I was gonna ask, did you do what I said though when you hit the start menu and you turned off the L targeting always with moving aim? Change that.
Wait.
It's in the gamepad, the top right. Like I put it at red, where it's only gyroscope if you lock on with L.
Oh, with the yeah. Oh, did I do that?
That improved the game a lot for me when I first did it. And like I said, it just grew on me. Like getting the medals, like and kind of just running through what Clay's doing now. That's when I actually realized I enjoyed the game. It just sucks. Like I said, I'm not gonna spoil it for Clay, but yeah, the unlockables totally blow. But
I was so confused for a moment there because I thought you were talking about The Last of Us, and I'm like, Last of Us is gyro controls?
Yeah, you can play with your wand, man. You can play Last of Us with the wand. But yeah, like I said though, like I mean, you have you don't open your amiibo. I was gonna say if you want to just run through the game, bro, you put that Falco amiibo on. It's so fun playing the game.
What does the Falco do? Because I didn't unbox my Falco.
It's a black ship. You could Clay. I'm gonna spoil for you when you get stuff.
I'm gonna mute it. Is it? What are you gonna spoil?
Fine. But you want me to spoil Falco amiibo? Let's just spoil. All right, whatever.
Oh yes, spoil the Falco amiibo.
Yeah, Falco amiibo is the only way to play that game. You get double the damage, but you give double damage. So you play in Star Wars. It's mad fun. Like legitimately, it's like the fun.
Double damage. You take double damage. That's got to be really hard.
You take double damage, but you give double damage. So it's real fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like the game is so fun that way.
That's cool. I can't wait to play that once I like. I'm getting.
That sounds more like an arcade mode because you you spend less time on each enemy, but you're more vulnerable.
Well, no, I mean I ran through both. Arcade mode actually feels longer than playing like the regular campaign mode. It just I don't remember which unlocks which. I forget if arcade mode unlocks block and the other in the medals unlock the other block. I don't want to spoil it for.
Yeah, I can mute it for a second if you guys want to talk about it. I don't care.
No. Don't worry. I already talked about it. This game's old. I just want to hear why Eli went back to the crap of us. I mean,
so I went back to The Last of Us because I hadn't played it. So I really rarely replay games. Like I think the last game I replayed was Mass Effect 2, and sometimes I restart games to like play through them a second time, but I usually don't get through. Like Wind Waker HD, I was playing through that and got maybe like a quarter of the way through, and then just never got around to finishing. So it's really rare that I replay games. Last time was probably the Mass Effect 2 or maybe Pokemon Fire Red. So I replayed it because I had an itch to go back to it because it's one of my favorite games that one of my favorite games of all time probably, and I went back to play it, and what I realized is that I didn't remember how like the first half of the game is just like meh, in my opinion. I guess it's like it's okay, and the second half of the game is really incredible, and that's kind of what made the whole game for me. But I didn't remember that because all my feelings were based off the second half of the game. So when I went back and I started replaying it, I'm like, I didn't realize this opening was so long. I didn't realize that. It took so long to really get into the story. The end of the game was still like pretty great, and I still hated it. When I first played through The Last of Us.
I didn't ever play the game, but I don't know if that made sense to other people, but did you say the ending of the game was really great and you still hated it?
No, it's terrible.
So I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, Clay. But
I'm never gonna play it. It doesn't sound like my kind of game. I don't care about this one.
Well, it's on PS3 anyway.
Good man.
So you're not gonna play it.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
So when I played through The Last of Us the first time, I hated the ending. I thought that they just did it so that they could make a sequel instead of like finishing it the way it should have been. And then like as time went on, I started being less mad about the ending, and I kind of like appreciated it a lot more, and now I kind of love the ending, which is really weird. And so when I got back to the ending the second time, like I knew what would happen, But even as I watched the ending happen the second time, I got really pissed off again. Like, why did you do this?
Is this similar like to the way people were really fired up at the end of Mass Effect 3? I remember that was like an internet controversy.
No. Mass Effect 3, people didn't like the Mass Effect 3 ending because it was bad.
Well,
like, it was
the thing
terrible.
was, there wasn't even an ending, to be honest. It was like,
That's why that Ego Raptor video is hilarious.
Well, the whole universe had been leading up to the fact that, like, based on the decisions you make, you get a unique ending, when really all the endings were the same. No, The Last of Us, people didn't like that ending because the whole game was leading up to a certain point, and then the main character just makes a terrible decision that completely derails where the whole game was going. And, like, in your head, it was all leading up to this one moment, and then this character makes this decision that just throws the train off the train track. And you're like, shit, I didn't, like, stop it. Like, why did you do that? And you just get really angry with the character because you shouldn't have done that. So that's without spoiling the game.
Gotcha. But it's still one of your favorite games. You're just saying the ending stinks.
Yeah, well, I'm coming back around to the ending again. As I said, like last time I started to appreciate it because I'm like, that's kind of the beauty in it, is the fact that I got mad. It's kind of funny I say that, but like I feel like it's kind of, it's part of the art form that like I get really pissed off. I mean, that means it worked, right? That means they evoked an emotional response from me, and I reacted to it the way they probably wanted me to react. And it wasn't all and they lived happily ever after. It was like, and then he fucked shit up.
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but the ending kind of does seem like they lived happily ever after.
I guess kind of,
like,
but not really.
As someone who's like never seen it or like never played it, you know what it does? You just kind of nailed it, Matt. Because like to me as an outsider, it sounds like you're describing when a great movie goes off the rails at the very end, and you're like, that's like it was so good. Like I think of Super 8 by J.J. Abrams. Like at the end, you're like, that was an amazing movie till the last 10 minutes, and what the hell were you thinking? Like kind of thing.
But it wasn't like it was a pretty clear move to piss off the player. Like they knew that it would have this sort of reaction, and so I don't think it was necessarily a bad ending. It's in like when you get to the ending and you say you hate it, it's not because it's a bad ending. It's because like it wasn't the ending that you wanted.
You know what the good thing is here? Like if Nintendo's behavior stays the same as it's been for the Wii U, we'll probably get a port of The Last of Us for NX.
No, it's a Sony exclusive.
Clay, I did not think that's where you're going. I thought you were going to say if Nintendo keeps getting the same success as the Wii U, we might see Nintendo games on PlayStation. I'll have to go.
No. I'm thinking we'll get some Last of Us. Maybe we'll get Braid. We'll get all the games I've wanted to play for like 9 years, like over on we'll get Fez finally over on Nintendo. It'll be awesome. I can finally play these games I wanted to check out. So, no.
You see, there was a little piece of news that came out that had a listing for Final Fantasy on NX that was then taken down.
Yeah,
it was
Kingdom Hearts
3. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was Kingdom Hearts. So hey, you never know, Clay.
That's true. Did you have any final thoughts you want to say on Star Fox, or should we move on?
No, I mean Star Fox is, if you can get it for cheap, I got it for $20 with guard included. I'd say take that deal. The game is now worth $60. I'm not paying $20 an hour to play Star Fox.
Yeah.
I think it was only 50 or 40 at market retail.
That's still expensive.
And I say that, but it's also something to weigh in on that. There's also the factor that it's directly aimed at people that have tons of nostalgia for Star Fox 64.
Star Sex.
The drunkenness has already hit you.
I swear I wish I was drunk, but I'm still getting ready for work tomorrow. The thing that I would think is like the one asterisk I put on that is like, yeah, it's probably not a $60 game. Is it a $40 game? If you loved Star Fox 64 a ton and you're a gamer of a certain age, so to speak, you might differ with that opinion, because I've put like 17 hours into it. Like that, I think on the last play count I looked at, because I'm either not very good at it or I'm not like figuring out how to do the metal. So I end up playing the levels again and again and again, because on-rail shooters I kind of like. So, but I hear what you're saying. That's a fair criticism on the Star Fox front.
Yeah, if you're willing to replay it. I'm just not that type of gamer. I'm like a go, 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 like get through.
Same. Yeah, I definitely say if like Eli said, if you can get it for $20, you might as well, because Star Fox Guard is like 15 to 20, and that game's definitely worth it. So it's more of a bonus at that point. Plus, there's also demos for both of them, so you can always check it out. The Star Fox Zero one doesn't really have a mission; it just has like training areas, but you'll get an idea of the controls at least.
Also, if you get Star Fox Zero, that game alone, once you buy it, you can say you're proficient in 9 months of Nintendo's calendar this year. Like, you just buy that one game, and you're like, yeah, I'm all caught up. I've got everything Nintendo released from April until November.
Gosh.
Ew.
All right, so now on to Mike, who's been playing the divisive Metroid Federation Force. At least it's divisive in how people perceive it. I don't know if the reviews have come out for it already yet, or at least I haven't checked them if they have.
I don't know if it's divisive. I think everyone's saying it's meh, although reviews not yet come out.
I just meant for all the controversy or whatever you want to call it. But Mike, since you're the one who's played it, tell us, how is it?
All right. Well, Overwatch is pretty awesome. Oh wait, you got me.
No, the other game.
All right. So I didn't really play Prime Hunters that much. I was like, this is Metroid Prime, and I was a salty old man, sitting on my porch with a rocking chair and stuff. But so I got Federation Force because I knew it was super controversial, and to be honest, I only really kind of ran through the first mission and the training missions, and I played Rocket League with it, which is its other multiplayer mode. I forgot the name of it. Bramble Ball.
Yeah,
that's it.
You're thinking of Donkey Kong too much. Bramble Blast.
Well, I mean, Bramble Blast is one of the greatest songs of all time. So, all right. So one thing, stuff I do like about the game is it legitimately it feels like a Prime game. Like you move pretty smooth. Like the worlds are pretty they're pretty big, even though they're like supposed to be small mission based levels. Stuff I don't like is there's a lot of like customization in this game. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to Metroid. I just kind of getting stuff and being better. But in this game, and every time you boot up a mission, you're actually supposed to load up your mods, what you want to carry into the mission. And so the game, I feel like it's like a new Triforce Heroes in a sense, where it's like you can play the game local, right? But it's not as fun, and it's a little bit harder because you're doing it solo rather than, with 2 other links. Or in this case, it would be 3 other, whatever they're called, Federation Forces. I forgot. I can't remember the name of these guys. The stupid things that nobody cares about.
Are they called bounty? I don't even know. Are they called?
No, they're not bounty hunters. They're from the GFS, from the Valhalla, army and all that Samus helps out all the time. All right, never mind.
Just call them soldiers or something.
Lore of Metroid is very high. I'll just run through it real quick. All right, control-wise, you don't really have that much. You can strafe and lock on, just like in Metroid Prime, and you can actually do the quick step, so you kind of have Samus's moves. The only difference is you can't double jump, wall jump, etc. You get a jetpack. You move really slow with that jetpack. I'll tell you that. It's practically useless. It's like floating for 1 second, and then your mobility is destroyed while you do the jetpack. You have a charge beam and a extra powerful charge beam, which is really cool. The first time I ever noticed I didn't notice the first time, but as you do the charge beam, the reticle spins, and it's actually there's 3 forms of your charge beam. You could shoot missiles, or this is what I'm talking about. It's not missiles, it's those mods. So you either have missiles, flamethrower, healing packs. You choose what special you want to go in every mission. So you're like, all right, I'm going to carry missiles and flamethrower, and it's okay, you could only carry 9 missiles and 6 flamethrowers before your backpack is full. So it's better to play this game with friends, because then you're like, all right, you could carry the healing stuff, I'll carry this, you know what I mean? It'll all be balanced out. Everyone has the same charge gun, but not everybody has the same special attacks. Lock on is L button, it works really well. The only thing that sucks is this game kind of makes you use gyroscope a bit.
Is that for aiming?
Yes, if you lock on or if you hold R, you go into gyroscope kind of mode where, you're already in first person mode, but now instead of leaving the gun at a fixed point or an L strafe mode, R is more of when you, in Prime 3, when you play with the Wiimote, you can move the gun anywhere without really, moving your camera or your angle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So it's important to do it, but I mean, I try not to do it, and it kind of makes the game a little bit harder because you can't be like, oh, I'm going to aim with the stick. You know what I mean? With the bottom screen, like it's Kid Icarus. You can't do that because your bottom screen is your map and your mission objectives. And it's cool. This game has open language to everybody, so I made my guy talk Japanese. You get 4 little lines like "Help me, I'm the best," etc. And I'm like, and you could change if you want to make it a deep voice or a light voice. But the game does reward also for finishing missions fast and for headshots. You actually get more points for that. So it rewards you for actually aiming and all that instead of just like, oh, I'm just going to shoot and run around. Like the more accurate you are and the more headshots you get, the higher mission score you get. There's actually a lot of hidden stuff. In the first level I played, I found like 2 hidden mods already. That's what they're called, MODs, for power-ups and all that. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Other than that, I didn't like Rocket League mode. I mean, I don't like Lucio Ball, or I don't really like Rocket League, so that's not my thing. It's a 3-on-3 online with anybody or local. This game has local multiplayer and online multiplayer, so it's up to you, whatever you want to do, which is a good ad versus Triforce Heroes, which only had local. So you can play online with friends rather than just like, oh, man, or you go online with anybody random. So, I mean, I tried online, but then I realized I was the only guy in the world with the game, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I was waiting.
With the, do you have a new 3DS?
No, I have I'm using this. I could play it on new 3DS. The new 3DS is another way to do instead of gyroscope.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you could use the C stick for that.
Yeah, you could. And then this game has amiibo functions, which I'm not too sure. I believe the amiibo functions are just like color coordination with your customizing of your armor. Yeah. So I believe if you put a Samus amiibo, you look like Samus. If you use Mario, you're gonna have red and blue armor. It's like the only way I was able to access the amiibo area is when I went to customize my character, so you could change his voice, his colors. What do you want him to say, all that other stuff.
Do the mods seem all that? I know you didn't use the mods, but the ones you got, did they seem interesting at least? Because I mean,
the first mod you get is Lone Wolf. They go, oh, use this if you're playing the game solo, which is nice. They kind of help you out. The mods seem kind of cool, but it's kind of more like if you're playing this, like if we were all playing together, it'd be really cool because it would be in a way where like I'm like, all right, I'll be like the heavy attack guy, and like Matt, you could be the support guy, so you'll pick mods to be like that, So you could really customize the way you want your character to be, how you want to attack each mission. So I think mods are cool, but when I unlock a little bit more, like I'm gonna be playing after we're done with the cast, like I'll be like, all right, right now they're kind of more basic, where it's like, oh, I have missiles and a flamethrower, and like, whoop-de-doo, these are just normal things. So
yeah, that was the one thing that stood out to me, the customization. Like here, you can have different mods and like a different loadout, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like to add to this game.
I did.
Unoclay,
Hunters didn't have that because you were Samus in that game, and then every hunter had their own thing, right? That was
yeah, that would have been cooler if they had like specific characters with specific abilities. But
but I mean, think about it. You're that GFS Valhalla army, so technically all you guys are the same. So which is kind of fair. There's actually a story behind it, but you have to actually not play the game. If you want to know the story, you actually have to not hit start. Usually you're like, oh, I won't hit start, I'll watch the whole lore, but then you hit start, you start a new game, and then it'll have the same thing. That doesn't happen. It just jumps you right into training mode. There's 3 files also. So.
That's weird. Unoclay, sorry, you said you're dying to ask some questions?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things you're hitting here because I haven't been looking at the game very much, so it's super interesting to hear all these like kind of reactions to it. The first thing that's like really big, you were saying that sounds interesting to me. It sounds a lot like the experience of Splatoon, sort of, where you wish you had a way to like better organize your teams, but then it's sort of like since there's no voice chat, right? Let me guess.
No, I don't think there is. I think it's only that D-pad where it's like I'm over here or follow me or
like Triforce Heroes.
But there's no lobby chat to address the issue that you're talking about, like setting up your team and saying, all right, you're the heavy gunner, you're the guy that carries the health packs, like that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. See, that's the thing. Like I said, if we play together, it'd probably be way better.
So it's not like what happened with Triforce Heroes is what it sounded like to me. Sort of like
no, Triforce. This game has both. It has local and online multiplayer. Does Triforce Heroes have online? Because I thought it didn't.
Yeah, it does. It's just that if one person like disconnects, then everyone disconnects.
Yeah, see, I'm not too sure on that, obviously, because I haven't been able to play with anybody. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But I actually didn't really read up much on this. The only thing I remember coming into this game was how super controversial it was because it's not Metroid Prime, which is dumb. But
does it have like a substantial campaign mode? Like, I don't know a lot about this game, so I'm genuinely asking. I know it might sound like a dumb question.
Mode is basically mission modes, which it's kind of it's not a story, but like I said, there is a story. Like, I think this is between Metroid Prime 2 and 3. Because it's like, the space pirates were driven away by Samus, and they haven't appeared in 10, 20 years or something, some baloney. And
to play soccer to stop them. Or whatever it is. So you have to
I got to get ready, in case they ever come back. And you're in the Bermuda system, which is like their galaxy with 3 different planets. And it kind of like the planets kind of feel like smaller mini versions of Metroid Prime, where you're like, okay, this is the ice world, blah blah blah. There's the ice enemies. The cool thing is all the enemies are actual enemies from Prime. So you'll be like, I remember that guy. I know that guy. You know what I mean? You can't scan everything, which is like my favorite thing to do. But you're not Samus. But there's a lot more interaction with the environment than in Prime. Like I was actually had to go over and like activate this crane system so it could carry me over across. And then I was like, oh no, the door only is open for 15 seconds, and obviously you can't sprint. So I'm just like heavy walking my way there. I'm like, dude, this would be so much easier if I had somebody to hit the button while I waited at the front door. You know what I mean? And then there's a switch on the other side for you to hold the door open for somebody else. And I go, man, this blow is playing by yourself.
That's such a classic Nintendo like puzzle motif, like a Zelda type motif, like the ticking timer for a door to get through and stuff like that. Sounds pretty familiar, like what you're describing there.
Yeah. I think the thing is, if you play with friends, though, you're less likely to hit like these mission goals where you get like rewarded medals or possibly mods. I only got like one. I think I got a mod out of it, but there's like hidden objectives, like finish this level in 9 minutes, but you don't know. Honestly, like I kind of just went in, like they'll tell you, like maybe I didn't really see it or I didn't actually go to that menu. But when I beat it at the end, it was like, oh, make sure no more ice enemies were in any room anymore. So I'm like, I killed every enemy in this mission. I got rewarded for that.
The big question I really have, and this is like, I'm not sure if you can relate to this or not, but like when I played Hunters on DS, and I know other people did because I think I even heard it on like MVC podcast and other people talking about it. I got tons of hand cramps from playing that game the way it was laid out because you had to use the triggers on the top, like the L and the R, in a really like bizarre way to like kind of control your character. And I had to actually quit because my hands would cramp up from holding my DS like during Hunters, and I wasn't even crazy about it to begin with. Is this? Would you think?
I haven't had it yet. Like, to be honest, the training mission is pretty. It's not like, hey, press A and you win. It's like it was actually a legit like fight down. And I'm like, whoa! I picked the training mission. I hit start, but no, I honestly think it's controls feel pretty simple. It wasn't like anything too big, like or like too hard and all that. Like I haven't like felt any cramps. It's no Kid Icarus where I'm freaking calling the ER after every one level.
See, that's the funny thing. I could control Kid Icarus way better because the way you hold it with a stylus, it's a stylus game. I mean, you just had to get used to that, and then you had to like figure out a way to hold your DS, and everybody knows that was a pain in the butt. I got good at it, but I get why it sucked for a lot of people. But great game nevertheless. But like, do you use the trigger, the shoulder buttons a lot in this one? I guess that's the final question.
Yeah, you have to use the shoulder button to lock on, but L and then the R1 is the one where you gyroscope aim.
Okay. But
L is really important because obviously, I mean, I don't know how it is with the new 3DS with the 4 buttons, but I'm playing on the old 3DS, and I really haven't had any problems with it.
Cool.
Do you see this game? I know you only played like 2 missions or whatever you want to call it, but do you think this game is going to be good like after a couple hours, or like how do you feel about it?
Okay, I'm not too sure. This game's not great. but it's not bad. Like I do have fun playing the levels. Like I just kind of, like I said, I kind of wish I had someone to play with. Like even if it's one person, that might make a huge difference on how fun the game is. Yeah. But I'm not gonna say it's a bad game at all. I think it's like pretty fun doing these missions and just playing around with it.
Yeah, it looks like it could go either way.
Yeah, given that we got no Metroid at all to play, like right now, it's the kind of thing I'll probably buy just because it's.
Yo, we got Metroid 2 the remake, bro.
Yeah, I know. Did anybody play that? I was curious.
Dude, I have. Oh my god, it's so good. Like it reminds me of Zero Mission. Excuse me. Zero Suit Samus mission. Yeah. Like that game, the original Game Boy game of that game sort of sucks. And I'm retro as hell, but it's like, it's black. Oh, yeah. No, dude, I know. I played like 10 minutes of that game. I'm like, ugh. But I've never been a big fan of 2D Samuses until Fusion. But this game, it reminds me of, like, it's kind of a mix between it plays more like the GBA game. That's what, like, it plays more like the GBA game. And I think it's fun in that way.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
Playing with a 360 controller, it sucks, but you have to.
That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a lot like they used the kind of like visual models from like the later 2D games, which 2D Metroid is really my favorite like way to play Metroid. I wasn't a big fan of the Prime series like everyone else on Earth. I thought they were too easy and just not my thing. But whatever, like I get it. I'm not in the club for that one, but it's like. I want to kind of play that, but I got to look into like how you play it and how you get it in your system because I'm rocking a Mac for my main computer and I got to figure all that stuff out. I don't play games on my computer too often, but I heard it was sick and what I saw of it, I was like, oh, thank God, that's awesome. It looks like they took the worst Metroid game and made it like into a legendary thing, even if it's going to be like a pirate type of situation where you can only play it on the DL.
Yeah, exactly. I would say, give it a shot if you like the GBA ones. I think it remade it in a fun kind of way, so I'm enjoying it. Like, sometimes I go, oh man, this sucks because like some situations versus some of those Metroids blow. But this game, like, I gotta remember it's also a Game Boy game, so I feel like I'm getting through it quick, but at the same time, I'm not. It's fun. I'm enjoying it, and it's free. It's part of the 30th anniversary, so.
Totally.
Cool. So Unoclay, have you been doing much besides drinking this week?
Oh man, between the friends visiting and the wedding and some birthday parties, no, I haven't played too much games. I've been playing the same stuff I've been playing for the last few weeks, although my plan for this week, where the wife is out of town on vacation with our family, and I was going to put 3 TVs in one room and have like all my systems like consolidated in one place, just for the sake of it, and just be like, yeah, I can just sit in this chair and turn any direction and play Super Nintendo, GameCube, Wii, like Virtual Boy even's going to get in there, like get the whole, just make this like master nerd setup, and then I was like, this is going to be a pain in the ass to move all this stuff, so I'm not sure I'm going to do it or not. Like I might do 2 TVs and like some of the systems, but like my big thing has been like I moved my Nest setup, which is on like a rolling cart and a TV, to like 1 foot away from a couch, so I can be like a little kid, like where I lay on the couch with my face like pressed against the screen and just like jam on games. And I have a bunch of like old Nest carts that I paid a few bucks for that are kind of rarer ones that I've been saving up for a little bit. Like the one I play, I'm not going to talk about the one I played last night. It's not that interesting anymore. But I'm psyched because there's this sequel to Punch Out that a lot of people don't know about. That's like the name is escaping me even now. It's kind of a rare card. It was like $40 when I found it, but somebody knew what they had and they weren't giving it up for cheap. But it's like Punch Out in outer space fighting aliens and stuff like that, and it was on that. Yeah, I'm going to Google it. I feel embarrassed. I have to walk into the other room to see it. I don't want to make a lot of noise on mic. But I go, it's literally, I put it away in a box and hid it for myself for a treat. So I might get that
Power Punch 2?
Power Punch 2, that's it. It was like, they didn't get the license renewed for Mike Tyson, but they wanted to have a Punch-Out sequel. It kind of flies under the radar because I think it came out later in the cycle, with the system, and everybody was already like looking at the SNES and all that stuff. So I'm psyched because what's better than having another Punch-Out game that you never played before, especially if it's in outer space, because that's how we rolled in the 90s. Everything was like in outer space, and it was awesome. So,
weird.
I'm psyched about that. So, other than that, just playing the regular stuff. I'm still working on all the games we've been talking about recently. So,
All right, so we'll get on.
Give us some news.
So, there's some announcements. The Splatoon Splatfire demo. So if you haven't played Splatoon or haven't got a chance to play Splatoon in the last year it's been out, they have a demo. It's between August 25th and 28th. You can check the times and all that there. So check it out if you haven't played it. I'd be surprised if some people haven't played it already. Wave Race is coming out this week, and Mario Sports Mix.
Wait, a new Wave Race? Or
no, the N64 one on the eShop.
That game is terrible.
Both of them are great. Well, actually, I didn't play the GameCube one, but the N64 one's great.
One is good. I don't know about the 64 one.
Oh, I can't play that 64 one, man. Oh, I go.
Wait. Is the 64 one the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game was awesome in its time. I bet it doesn't hold up now, but it was so sick when we were kids.
You gotta think about it. The first few games, the first 3 games I ever owned for that 64, Super Mario 64, Wave Race 64, Pilot Wing 64. Those are the 3 games I owned. Those are my first 3 games.
It's got 64 bits, and we got to put in the title of every game. 64.
Yeah, I was like, bro, I was like, man, give me a high five 64, bro. All right, that's it. 96 is like that.
64, baby. No, because I remember genuinely, this isn't me being ironic. Like, I remember the water effects in that game were so sick, they were beyond their time. And it was like, I would just play it to look at the water movie. And I'd be like, look at the water in this game, and show my friends. And they were like, yeah, it's sick. And I'm like, I thought that game was really good in its time. I doubt it looks good anymore. I bet those polygons look like ass, now. But, I mean, I'm a hater on the N64. I always have trouble going back to that system because I'm just like, Jesus, like, these games look ridiculous now,
That's what gives them their charm.
No, I don't know. It's the one for me, but I could go on about that. I don't want to take it away from anyone else. I just, it's like I need to get a really good upscaler for like my N64 to like make it look as good as possible on a modern television and try it. Maybe that'll do it for me. But yeah, I don't know. People, if you haven't played it, Wave Race 64, and it's like $5 or something like that, you should definitely try it because it's a part of gaming history. Like everybody remembers that game, even if it's not your thing. It was fun in its day.
Yeah, definitely check it out. And then the other thing that happened was there's going to be more Nintendo Selects, so basically discounted Nintendo games. There's Animal Crossing New Leaf and Luigi's Mansion, which is pretty good, Tomodachi Life, Nintendogs, Wind Waker HD, Nintendo Land, and Lego City Undercover. And Eli, you played that, right?
Yeah, I did play Lego City.
Would you say it's worth picking up?
Yeah, it's really terrific. I really loved it when I played through it. I think I reviewed it too. It's hilarious. It's probably the best Lego game I played. Now, as a caveat, I haven't played very many Lego games, but like it's I laughed out loud probably several times, and the humor's great, the city is great, and it's pretty fun to play through.
I heard the loading times were terrible on that game.
Yeah, loading times are terrible. It's like 1.5 minutes.
I remember it being like notorious and it was like the slowest loading ever. But what does it mean if it's Nintendo Selects? Like, how much is that going to cost? Like
$20.
Yeah, $20.
And if you have Amazon Prime,
it comes in that box where it's not like you didn't get it when it was first run. It's like the player choice scum box.
Yeah, you have to put up with the cheesy box. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're $20. So if you had some interest in them, they're probably worth picking up. And there's not really much news, but I don't know if you wanted to talk about Pokemon, Eli.
Was there new news?
Yeah, they showed off a new trailer. They showed off some more new Pokemon. We don't really need to go over the Pokemon per se. Did you see the trailer? I'm guessing. No?
Yeah, I don't remember what was a part of it. I've been keeping tabs.
Okay. They showed off like their new evil team.
Oh yeah, was it Team Skull?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yo, they remind me of like Jet Grind Radio bad guys. If anyone else got that vibe from the new Team Rocket serve, villains. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, they got this like this rapper vibe going on. Someone showed off like a picture of one of the guys' poses related to another gangster and whatnot. I don't know. I think that they're cool. They have like their own attitude, and they seem like more like Team Rocket more than like we got to take over the world because reasons and the world sucks, so we got to destroy it. Blah blah blah. It seems like they're basically there to piss off like some of the like one of the Pokemon leaders, because they had like a rivalry or whatever. So it seems like a more insular story, and I kind of like that rather than the big blockbuster over dramatic thing.
I've got this little fear. Maybe you can put it to rest. But from everything I've seen, minus like the Gen 1 remakes, it seems like this game is looking to be a little more kiddie. And I mean this in the way that like the way they're doing the Pokemon reveals, I mean, I guess it's okay. But also like the gym leaders themselves and kind of the way they're I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm getting this feel that it's not going to be as like grown up as some of these other Pokemon games.
Do you mean story-wise or some other aspect to it?
Story-wise and mechanic-wise. I mean, maybe not mechanic-wise because they are introducing like super training past level 100, or whatever they call that, and then some other elements. But it seems like for the game itself, like the initial portion, the story and getting up to the end of the game, like the base game, not the meta game.
I don't know. I've never really put too much, not thought, but I kind of just like ignored Pokemon stories because just like, okay, it's whatever. They're all like practically the same. And I'm not saying this is going to be some amazing story, but it just looks at least different than
I don't know about you,
games.
but I freaking bawled like a baby when I played
X and Y.
No, I'm joking. I didn't really. No. But didn't they try to do like an emotional ending in X and Y, if I remember?
Yeah, it was like, I forget. The one guy used some super powerful thing, and I forget exactly how it goes, but basically the guy's like flower died, and he's cursed to like live forever and like mourn the loss of this flower Pokemon. I'm like, okay, whatever. They're all pretty cheesy, but I think this one just seems more interesting because it's not like everyone's taking over the world, which they've done for like practically every generation. Maybe not the first or second, but for like the last decade, it's been the same. So at least it's different. It seems interesting.
I just have an observation on Eli, as you know, I'll pull up my psychologist chair and say, Eli, I have bad news. When you start like looking at Nintendo and saying things like, musing things like, it seems like the game is like a little kiddier than I expected it to be. I have bad news, dude. It's not Nintendo. It's you that's changing.
No.
hang on, bro. Hang on to your childhood because it doesn't get any better, dude. I'm going to tell you as a third back. You're like, and the story is that Princess Peach's cake was kidnapped. And
the cake was kidnapped, not even her.
Okay, let me actually... Okay, I've got to leave soon, but I do want to do a little story about, since we're on Pokemon, how my little sister's playing through Pokemon Fire Red, okay?
Sure.
So she's playing... I gave her Pokemon Fire Red to play through. She's playing through it. She's clueless. Like, I don't know how kids tie their shoes these days, like, let alone play through games.
Have you never tied shoes, Eli? Like, how do they get these on their feet?
Yeah, well, okay, so my little sister's, like, playing through this game. First of all, I have to explain everything to her. And I don't remember... Well, I played Fire Red, I think, when I was 6 or 7 years old. So I really don't remember... like, if I had trouble with these things. But stuff like, she didn't learn Flamethrower because she thought Scratch was a good move. And stuff like that. Like
anytime you learn a new move, you just override it. I didn't know back. I was like, "Oh, Scratch sucks. I got a new move." And I didn't know Leer would suck. I was like, "Hey, I learned it." So it's
wait a second. So she Scratch you already start off with.
She didn't know about the power mechanic, like how you can look and see which moves are more powerful than others. She didn't know about that. She didn't know like. So I'd explain everything to her, and even then, she didn't really remember. She wanders around aimlessly. Okay, when she got to the 5th gym, her Charizard was level 70. Okay, that's how much she aimlessly wandered around.
Oh my gosh!
So she just didn't know where to go. It almost reminds me of like Twitch plays Pokemon. You know, you press enough buttons the right way, you're finally gonna get maybe to the end.
If she's really doing that, like wandering out like that, you might. I don't know if you have like. You probably don't have hardware so you can film her playing that game, but it would be you'd probably get a million hits to be like, yeah, how old is she? Like 4 or 5? What did you say?
She's 8 years old.
So she's 8. Okay, because you get like millions of hits. Like if it was like you, if she's like this little kid like trying to like solve Pokemon, and she's just like, I don't know what to do, and just like walking around doing nothing or whatever. You know. So she ended up getting stuck because she didn't have any of the HMs because she skipped all of them. So I'm like, you gotta go get these.
Wouldn't you have gotten stuck before you could get to the 5th gym?
Well, she got cut, but like when she got to the 5th she skipped the 5th gym entirely. Okay, she did the 6th and 7th gym before she did the 5th.
I didn't even know that was possible.
What?
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, apparently I didn't know it was possible either until I looked at her badges, and she's like, I don't know where the next gym is, and I'm like, well, what are you on? And she's like, the 6th. I'm like, oh, that's the or 7th. I'm like, oh, that's Cinnabar Island. She's like, I already did that one. I'm like, oh, well then. So I had to go like look, and so that was kind of weird. So she's finally on Victory Road, making her way through Victory Road. She doesn't really get type. She doesn't get type advantages very much. She only will get it like once she strikes it right, and then she'll remember that it's super effective. But she doesn't know that like fire is good against grass, or like fighting, or that flying is good against fighting, or whatever. She just kind of like experiments.
Does your not to be rude, but does she need to know basic bio like science? Fire burns grass.
So here's the thing. She's a really smart kid. She's in gifted and talented in her grade. She's really good at. She's like ridiculously good at math and reading. For her age. So like it's not a lack of intellect. It's just I don't know what kids are smoking these days. What?
I don't know.
Maybe not paying attention. Like just cruising through. Like.
Yeah, I think it's not paying attention. And the fact that she's used to not smartphone gaming, but gaming on her iPad or whatever, where everything's super easy. And I don't think she's used to keeping up with like 50 different things. Oh, you've got to learn moves. Oh, you've got to, these type advantages. Oh, you've got HMs. Oh, I mean, she only caught like 20 Pokemon, for heaven's sake.
Wow.
So it's like, you've got all these different things going on, and she's probably not used to it compared to like how simple and one mechanic driven a lot of phone games are.
Yeah. To be fair, you may not need to know like type advantages to beat the game, but the game does no effort to actually explain any of them to you. Like there's no real tutorial modes. Like I think there's like a school in one city in like the whole game that like gives you like, I don't know, 2 or 3 different type advantages, and I think they're like pretty obvious, and that's about it. So like figuring out psychic beats, I forget how it works in the first one, but how certain type advantages work against certain other ones. There's a lot of combinations, and not all of them are pretty obvious. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Listening to you guys, because as the non-Pokemon expert, of our group here, like it's funny to listen to you guys talk, because genuinely you take stuff for granted about that series because you have literally been playing it your whole lives. And when I hear you saying it, I'm like, I mean, at the same time, Eli, I take your word for it that you can see she's kind of flailing with this particular game or this genre. But to me, it's like, that's one of the things as an outsider who barely knows anything about Pokemon. I get what RPGs are like, but when I play RPGs, I often have that experience of noticing kind of what Matt just nailed, that they don't explain a lot of stuff to you. And I'm the kind of person who does kind of expect the game to teach me at some point in a logical progression. Like, okay, so like, water gets beat by fire or whatever it is, grass gets beat by psychic and all this stuff you guys are talking about. Like, I have passing familiarity with that stuff from listening to you guys and other podcasts and stuff like that, but barely. And if I played a Pokemon game today, I guarantee you I'd be like messing up left and right. Like when you guys you say skipping gyms, I'd be like, well, why couldn't you do that? That would be my reaction. Like, I'd be like, well, I'm just going to go wherever, I'm not going to do everything in order if I can go where I want, that kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And man, my favorite was like just exemplifies the situation is my little sister at the very beginning of the game put a Pikachu in the daycare, run around the whole game, doesn't remember where the daycare is. Just like, I don't know where I get my Pikachu back. But yeah, I get it. And it's a lot to comprehend. And I'm wondering, so I decided I'm going to do an experiment because I told her once she beats Fire Red, I'll get her either X or Y. Mm-hmm. So I want to see if she does better at one of those 2 games. And maybe if like those games do a better job at explaining some of the mechanics or not.
Well, I know in Sun and Moon they're actually adding some things where you can see what moves are super effective. I forget, there's something on the bottom touchscreen where you can like tap the specific Pokemon in battle and see what moves work better. I don't know if it tells you they're typing or not, but it does add some more features that make it somewhat more easier to get into the series. Oh, it also adds, let's say you use something that beefs up your attack or lowers someone else's defense or whatever, it'll list that on there too. So you don't have to remember, okay, how many times did I use this attack because I can't, raise my stat anymore. It actually says it on the bottom screen, which is smart.
I want to hear updates, Eli. Keep us posted because I find it interesting to like like sociologically speaking, to hear like what little kids are like. Because like I hear what you're saying about like that she might be trained on like this easier, I don't know if you call it a genre, like, you know, of smartphone or like tablet games or whatever. But I know what you mean because my wife plays one or two of those, and I always look at them like, all you do is this one thing. That's not a game, and I'll just make fun of it, you know, like a dick. And she'll just be like, it's fun. And I'm like, I didn't say it was fun. I just said it's like all you're doing is swiping. Like you're literally just that's like the whole game. I'm like, girl, you live with a game collector. You could be playing some good games, girl. And she's like, I like the swiping game. And I'm like, what?
You're like, and that's why I'm never letting you go to the casino.
Yeah, I know, right? No, she doesn't even like gambling. That's the funny thing. I thought she would get addicted to like the pull the lever, get the money games, you know, or whatever. But no, she's always like, I don't want to waste money. So that's a good thing in a wife. So I appreciate that one. So.
Eli,
well, yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta head out.
Yeah.
It's been nice talking to y'all.
Cool.
See you guys next week.
We'll see you next week, Eli.
See you next week, Eli.
Why are we not talking about how great Overwatch is now?
Oh, I forgot to ask you. Did you want to talk briefly about Overwatch?
Yeah, it's got to come for the NX if they want to succeed. Not playing.
It should. That game looks so good, but I want to get it, but it's just not in the cards right now.
What do you call it? Yeah, Billy got it for me for my birthday.
Nice.
And I kind of knew I was gonna like it, but I knew about it for a while, and I was like, I'll give this game a shot. You know, I'm not the biggest FPS guy, but I do like unique FPSs, and I do like I love like on the PC like Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is enough already. No.
What?
We're bringing full circle. Food in the mouth. Full circle.
All right. Yeah, I'm having a neck.
Can someone in a nutshell tell a guy who hasn't watched a single video of it, like, why Overwatch is such a thing? Because, like, to me, I heard everyone talking about it lately, and I'm like, so what? An FPS? Like, why is this one? Why is this one the new?
So, I mean, this game it's fair. Like, it's based between healers, offensive, defensive, and quote tank characters. Now, the game it's always quick play. It's a 6-on-6. And depends if you're attack or defend. So either you claim a spot and you try to defend it off for like a certain amount of time, or you try to escort a payload and vice versa, stop the payload. Now, what makes the game great is everyone's got a special, which is super annoying, but at the same time, there's ways to counter it. So it's not like, oh, this is impossible, this is bullshit. Like when Reaper goes like ham when he does his special. You can still hit him while he's doing it, even though he can fire a bullet in every single direction. You know, you're like, oh, I was sniping, I could shoot him right in the head. Who really cares? You know, and vice versa. Every character can counter another character. The game wants you to have evenly teamed, so it'll be like, hey, you guys don't have enough tank heroes, you don't have enough offensive heroes. Some characters can double jump, some characters can climb ledge, other characters, you know, they have more HP, they're a little bit faster. Every single gun is different. You don't get different guns or a second gun and all that. Some characters don't even have guns. They only have melee, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's fun. Like, to play, like, every character. Like, you start to pick your favorites. Like, my favorite characters are Reaper, Hanzo, and Diva.
Nice.
Reaper's offensive. Hanzo's a defensive player. Diva's a tank. I also like Bastion if I want to be a bitch. But... But yeah, like I'm saying, it's like it doesn't matter. Like, oh, I have no FPS experience, all that. All right, that's fine. You can even be the healer and have fun with this game. Like, I actually suck at healing, which is kind of hard to believe, but I just can't do it. Like, I'm like, ooh, there's an enemy. I got to go fight him. But healers usually have they have less health, and even though you're a healer, doesn't mean you can't kill. You know, I die a lot to like Zenyatta or whatever the hell you say his name is. It's just some stupid automatic lock-on healing. You know, all you have to do is hold the left mouse down. So that's the thing. It's a game for everyone. It's really fun in that sense. And I mean, it just looks, you know, like awesome. It just sucks that there's no real story mode. It's kind of just online playing, and all the story is that, you know, it's promotional ads and hey, we have a comic and here's a character trailer. You know, it's really cool and all, but you know, I just enjoy this game. I only enjoy for gameplay. I wish if it had a story mode, I think the game would be a perfect game.
Yeah, especially because they're such unique characters, and they all like stand out from each other in comparison to some of the other FPSs or MOBAs being made, where they all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
Isn't like story usually pretty throwaway in a good FPS though? Because like I see that as like a smart decision almost for a developer. Like put all your eggs on the thing people are going to actually play. Because in Call of Duty, no one plays the story mode, or like Splatoon. Who remembers that? You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's real. I hear you.
I think the difference.
But Splatoon and Call of Duty are generic everyman characters, though. Like this game, I had already made unique characters with trailer launch like 2 years ago. Like you knew every character and your story, and like, oh, Tracer, she's British, and she teleports. Like you knew before you even went into the game who these characters were, and they were able, like Matt said, to make each character unique and different. And it's like they have so much, and they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, they basically the difference, like Mike said, is they all have their own personalities. It's basically like if Disney made a shared universe kind of thing, because they have like this Disney-like art style, but they all seem like their own. Well, they're all their own characters, basically. It's not like, oh, well, here's this one guy and here's that generic guy. I think Soldier 47 or whatever is probably
76.
is probably like the only one that seems generic because he's a soldier. But aside from that, like all of them seem like they stand out pretty well. And I don't know, I think they could have some interesting backstories. I think it was just a matter of them thinking, I guess they didn't want to put too much into it in case it didn't turn out well, or because there's way too many characters, there's like 25 plus characters, they maybe didn't want to put the effort into it or something. I don't know.
Or maybe thinking DLC, guys. Maybe they're thinking DLC.
Possibly. It's actually so
they added a whole new character, and she was free.
They did,
like an entirely new character.
So
nothing.
Here, Unoclay, here's something interesting. You were saying, oh, why have single player when most people are going to play multiplayer? Which is true. Most people are going to play multiplayer, but then you have something like Street Fighter where they didn't have single player, and people got really pissed because, like, hey, you've been putting single player in these games for years. You decide to cut it out on us, and now this game looks like it's missing a chunk of it. Like there's less content in this, and then there's also multiplayer issues and whatnot. But
right, I hear you. But that's
it adds to it.
I could argue that's a traditional issue where people are like, well, it's a tradition. You got to have a story mode in Street Fighter, and I get it. But I hear what you guys saying. I'm just curious because, like, to me, it's like when I think FPS, even as a guy who only who does enjoy them but only plays them once in a great while due to my Nintendo addiction, but, like, I still, like, yeah, I have, like, all the Call of Duties that are on Wii U, and, like, they're good games. I know, Call of Duty, whatever, schmeh, they're good games. They're beautiful. They're crazy. When I play the story mode, I get bored within, like, 10 minutes. I'm like, it's so, like, linear, run from here to there, kill the guys, see the cutscene, like, do the special event or whatever, like, whatever you got to do. And then, like, I'm always, like, I should just go play multiplayer because I'm not getting any better doing this. I'm playing this movie that's like cheesy about some stupid story I can't follow. But that's just me, Yeah. I don't know. Like it's interesting to hear what you're saying.
I mean, Call of Duty has stories with Soap and McIntyre, like Soap and Ghost and stuff. Those are good stories, man.
No, they were. I didn't follow them too close, but you're right. They are kind of cool. I could tell they're cool. I just didn't pay attention, so I never knew what was going on.
Yeah, no, it's hard to pay attention. Some of the missions are just so long, and you're like, I gotta walk to the end of the map, and that's it. And you're like, whatever. And I was actually surprised a lot of people didn't play, Call of Duty Story. Like that's why Titanfall was made. And people were like, boo, this sucks. There's no single player. And that's another evidence for Matt. Like Titanfall is supposed to be a good game. Call of Duty took a lot of stuff from Titanfall, but people didn't like it because it didn't have a single player.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, when they want to charge like $60 to $80 for these games, it's like, okay, you got to give me a little more than multiplayer, or else, why shouldn't I just wait a couple of months or something? It's just a bit. If you're gonna have multiplayer only, lower the price, because then what else are you paying for? You don't have to have these big blockbuster scenes or anything. It's just.
Or
There
just be
should be a
really
trade-off.
honest about it when you're selling it. I mean, that would be the other way to handle it. Like if you come correct, and it sounds like Overwatch, got you guys everyone on the internet's head turned on this game and loves it. Just be very upfront about it. That like we're focusing on multiplayer. That's what this game is, and that's it. Don't make people think there might be stuff in there that isn't, because then what you get what you're paying for. If you guys knew it doesn't have a story mode and that was a big deal breaker, then But I hear you. That's interesting. It's interesting because when I think FPS, even if someone doesn't play them, I think multiplayer, and I think who gives a crap, about the other stuff or whatever. But it's interesting to hear you guys' take on this. Well, that's cool.
To be quite honest, I never really got into multiplayer modes until Splatoon, basically, because that's like there's no way you're gonna play that just in single player, because in single player you're not really fighting team versus team.
I don't think that's true for you though. You've been playing Smash for years.
Well,
you've been playing, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
I didn't know we had a single player though. Like a lot of stuff, like event modes, target practice.
Yeah,
classic mode.
with Brawl, I didn't really play online because the connection sucked ass.
Yeah.
So
True.
I didn't like, to be honest, I didn't really have any friends on IGN to be able to play like Brawl with anyway. I think I played like Sam once, like in the final years that it was out. But basically it wasn't until Splatoon that I actually got into it, because like, okay, well, you either play multiplayer or you don't really get any value out of this thing. And I played the demo of it and I liked it, so that's what got me into it. But
Gotcha. I mean, I've always been an on the couch multiplayer, even if I wasn't online, because that's what you are if you're a Nintendo fan. Up till GameCube, you didn't have an online, so all three of us probably had a similar experience. Like, I started going online a ton with Wii because of a little game called GoldenEye and a little game called Monster Hunter. That like those for me that's an interesting topic we should talk about sometime. Your first online experiences with video games, because I'd have to stop and think about it. Were those the first time I really played hundreds of hours of online of a game online, not just on the couch, with somebody? So
wait, you guys never played like StarCraft or Diablo 2? Diablo 2 was my first real online game.
No,
but I would go. The thing is, though, it was fake online for me. You know why? I'd go to internet cafe with all my friends, and then we play.
Yeah, that's a LAN party.
It's like, hey, we're online. Yeah, but I mean, you're right next to me, dude. So it's like, hey, dude, do this, But then you get so in the zone, you actually type through the thing instead of talking to them, And I mean, online for me really didn't happen until Mario Kart Wii. That's probably my foray. And guess what? I wouldn't play Mario Kart Wii online unless I played with my brother or my best friend at the time, local co-op, like doing that online. So I didn't really play online until like possibly crappy Brawl or like, I don't know. I really was never like a big...
Mario Kart Wii. Yeah, Mario Kart Wii was a big breakthrough for them. That was the first game they had that had good online multiplayer. The
online was perfect for that. That game is that's the best Mario Kart.
Wait, I can back it up a little bit if we want to get really technical about this at the end of the podcast. Like, what about Mario Kart DS was before that, and that online...
Oh, yeah, it had Wi-Fi only. Like, it had on the box. Remember, it promoted that it had a Wi-Fi.
And it worked great. I played it all the time. I had a job for my job. I was traveling all the time for my job, and I would play that in my hotel rooms and stuff like that against random strangers, like all the time. So, yeah, I have to think about this. This is an interesting topic because, I'm not a PC gamer, and all my buddies that I grew up with, Diablo, all that stuff, StarCraft, holy crap, that's like a religion to some people, So, yeah, but I didn't play those games, so that's interesting.
For me, when it comes to single first-person shooters, like, I like having a campaign. Even like with Call of Duty, I don't really care about the story anyway. I just play it because the campaign is fun. But it goes back to something like Minecraft or whatever. I like games that give me like a specific goal or a mission. It's like, okay, do this. You start off at this point and you end at this point, and then your journey is the thing in between, but you still have like an end goal. So for something that's only multiplayer, I can see myself like maybe not getting bored of it, but just, well, I guess getting bored of it, because it's like, okay, well, what am I building towards? It's like, okay, well, nothing. It's like, okay, well, maybe I might back off of the game. So that's why I like having a single player. Plus, it just adds more value to the game. Like if something is only multiplayer, it's like I'm not paying $60 to $80 for just multiplayer. I'm gonna wait until it's like cheap enough, and then by the time I do, no one's playing the game anyway. So,
see, the interesting thing is, Matt, I hear what you're saying, and like the way you said, like you came to it through Splatoon and other doorways like that Mike and me are talking about. The funny thing for me, if I can say something sincere, because I prefer to be like ironic or jokey, but sincerely, maybe my favorite thing about video games is connecting with other people, which sounds fucking corny as hell. Excuse the F-bomb, but it's like that's what online is a substitute for. That, like, if you can't have your friends live in your house, like, with you to play video games every night, which you can't, it's like, that's what really, like, does it for me. So when you say, oh, you prefer something to do, the funny thing is I've swung in the other direction as I've gotten older, because I realized, wait, my favorite thing is when me and my friends are playing Smash online, like, even if we're not in the same room, like, I'm hanging with my friend in that way, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and that's the funny thing. It's like the goal becomes just to hang out and like have fun, like kind of a classic Nintendo mantra, to wrap the idea with there, but it's like on the couch having fun, and maybe they're giving into the idea that, and online a little bit, it's like kind of a good idea because it's what everyone wants, because there's something there, especially if you talk to your buddies or keeps you in touch, and that kind of stuff. So, I don't know.
I'm totally not knocking that. I love that.
No, like, I know.
Playing with you with Splatoon and Smash Brothers is awesome. And it's probably why I haven't played it in a while, because like we've just been playing it so much that I haven't really like had a reason to get back into it. But I just mean like when I'm playing myself, like if I'm not playing, like let's say I'm playing a game that's multiplayer only and I don't have any friends that are playing it, like then I would see myself getting bored of it, because it's stuck on how much interest I have in it, rather than, oh, hey, I'm playing with a buddy, it's going to be fun regardless, kind of thing. So, just that. The one last thing I want...
I had to get a tissue and wipe a tear from my eye. That was so No, but seriously, that's cool. Right on. I mean, we could hit this topic another time, because we could like really sit down and think about like the whole, online, like how has that like changed you as a gamer, and like online, like what we're doing here, because like I think if I
how much just makes you more angry, it just makes you more salty. All right, like playing local, like you get like, it's like, damn, you'll get like kind of like fun angry. Like when you play online, man, you don't play hot, like you're not playing good. It's just I feel like everything on online is not as good as local, and I guess that's just a Nintendo in me, where it's like, I'm like, all right, I'll get angry if I lose, and it's not as fun as if I win.
Yeah.
Like versus like, I got you, man. Then you laugh the other day. I was playing Mario Party 5 with my brother and all that. Like we recorded and all that. Like it got recorded like terribly just because the thing broke down. So we're playing the hidden mini games in that game, the beach volleyball and the hockey one. Mm-hmm. Dude, I would like. It's probably like my best memories are playing those two hidden mini games local with them, and we just laugh and talk shit, and you know what I mean? Like it's just such a good game. Like if I was playing that online with like a random like a person as my teammate or like my friend, it wouldn't be as good like without seeing him and reacting with him and all that.
Is Mario Party 5 the one that has you can make your own like battle carts?
I think it is. I think it is.
That mode was pretty dang cool. Even if it was like easy, it's just a cool thing to add to it. And then the ones with the microphones are hilarious, because I don't think I got to play it much with my friends, but when I did, rather than actually saying the words, like I forget, one of them was like mention a specific fruit and that tile will fall. I would just yell like gibberish into the microphone, so it would be random, so they couldn't like see whatever was coming. I'm just like, hey, microphone, blah, 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 and then it just like randomly drops one. I'm like, figure that one out.
Those microphone games never worked though. I'll be like banana. They'd be like, you said strawberry. Yeah. I'm like, no, I didn't. You lose. Oh my god, damn
it. Good stuff. I think that'll about wrap it up for this week. There wasn't really any news. It was just more patents and rumors, and not really much to really go over that we haven't already. So I think we'll end it there. I'm Matt. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Eli is at Palasalon on Twitter, and you can read his articles on Nintendo Enthusiast at Eli. Mike, where can people find you and your gameplay of Metroid Federation Force?
All right, guys. Mike, you can find me at Gaming Night Live or SMB Gaming 64 on YouTube. Also, same thing with Twitter and or on Troy Fullbuster. Thanks, guys. In the future, if you do watch, or in the past, I'm not too sure.
In the past.
For the past.
Nice.
Thanks to time traveling listeners who are listening to the past and the future.
And why haven't you given us cures already? What are you doing? Give us games too.
I'm Unoclay. I still hang out on the failing and coming down around our ears. The architecture is crashing for real. My IGN is like completely falling apart. Like the ads don't show up anymore. You can't post status updates. It's so broken. We've made a Google Plus group as a backup because we're afraid it's going to come crashing down one day and we won't be able to talk to anybody anymore. But I still hang out on my IGN at Unoclay1.
For as long as it's still there. All right, wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, and IGN, and Destructoid. You can leave us questions or comments or message if you want to be a guest. Remember, we'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.